good morning. I appreciate you all giving me your time during your precious planning periods to talk about briefly school improvement goals, but more specifically how we can improve as a department. We're close to the holidays, so while we are about to get a much needed break, when we come back, it's going to be go time. We got exams coming up, end of course assessments. We got a lot of things coming up, and as well as ensuring that our students graduate. Most importantly, making sure that us as teachers, finish strong. All right. So the reason why this matters, first of all, our CTAE, is it Network or Security Plus?
701 Security Plus.
Security Plus. So I have up here Network Plus. I'm sorry, Security Plus. We had a 0% pass rate for the last school year. Now, that's nothing that is not on us as a teacher. That is a very complicated certification exam. A lot of adults can't even pass that. That is an exam that's offered through at the post-secondary level for students completing various either 2-year or 4-year cybersecurity programs. So it is very difficult. So we want to do the best we can. Well, my job here is to try to see what you all are working on or what you all are using in class, and what I can provide you based on my area expertise or just how much I research different disciplines to see how we can improve not only teaching but student achievement in this area. Also, AP Computer Science Principles is returning after 4 years, or should be returning after 4 years. So I do want to go over how we can get off to a good start for teachers teaching that pathway, so that we can at least have a good passing success rate, bringing it back. We are home to an IT pathway, so that equals college and career readiness. So we get our student body is growing. We've moved up in the athletic conference, if you will, to, I believe we're 5A. So that means we got more students. So that's I forgot the breakdown of that, but we're getting more students. So as we get more students, more opportunities will be coming our way in terms of programs. So we want to strengthen that. And ultimately, what we do as a department aligns with ARC school improvement goals, student readiness, and data-driven instruction. So a data snapshot, and this kind of, okay, I'll edit that. All right. In terms of our data snapshot, a lot of what was presented to us in that 45-day meeting that we attended as a faculty, so a lot of what they highlighted kind of coincides with our problems. So for one, our MAP diagnostic performance is below national averages. Also, one thing that really appeals to us is the high absenteeism. That really does affect our pathways, not just core subjects. We need students here so that we can better prepare them. I don't know about you all. I do a lot of group projects. I also have an end of course exam that we have to do, which is an engineering not exam. So even though I put things online, the challenges with students who aren't here all the time, we might not know if they have the technology they need. We don't really know the specific circumstances, but that high absenteeism, that can affect us. If they're not here, then how are they going to get, what can we do to make sure that they still get that knowledge necessary to pass our exams? Students tend to have limited exposure to coding prior to being enrolled in AP Computer Science Principles or cyber courses. Sometimes their experience is limited to just doing Scratch, which is a platform similar to the Microsoft MakeCode platforms, but a lot of them have limited experience. So as cyber and coding is being pushed kind of at the elementary and middle school levels, we still have students who may not have been exposed to those type of classes, which kind of hinders them, because students are taking classes out of order. That happens a lot. That's one thing that we need that hopefully will improve at the top level. But yeah, they have limited exposure to cyber and coding, which can hinder them. Also, equity considerations. Approximately 88% of the IT students or the cyber pathway students are African American. According to the according to the data presented at the faculty meeting that we had recently, 70% of our student population is economically disadvantaged. And learning loss is amplified according to that 45-day report when you have not just absenteeism, but also punitive exclusionary measures. So in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension. Now there's some of those things that we can't control. If a student fights, brings a weapon, brings any type of illicit substances to school, you know, the law has to step in, and we don't really have any control of that. Some more equity considerations is there's a need for expanded access to practice tools. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So the first two goals. So by May 2026 for the CTAE exam for Security Plus, ideally, I think a good target rate for at least for 35% of our students to pass the exam. That's rather ambitious, even though that's not a high percentage because of the complexity of that exam. We really need, in my opinion, or based on my expertise, we really need comprehensive hands-on platforms for students to have access to in order to prepare them for those things. So it's more than just book work. It's a lot of simulation. In our pathway, you can read a book on any of our disciplines, but how do you apply it? Are you able to apply it? And that's really how you drive it home. We teach vocational pathways. It's not just about book work. It's about what you can do with your hands, what you can do with your brain. All right. Thank you all for joining me after the fire alarm. Just to recap real quick, we've got two goals going that I've come up with for the next school year, or for the remainder of the school year as we are close to testing time. So of course by May 2026, in terms of the CompTIA Security Plus exam, try to move the needle from 0% to at least 35%. But any gains are good, considering where our level is for now. And also with 100, the other goal is for 100 students, 100% of students completing at least 3 full-length practice exams. So we'll talk a little bit about some resources that we have, and might even we will have to address some of the challenges in front of us in terms of resources that we know can get our students to that next level. And then the second goal. Right now, this is slated for May 2026, but they're still working on the master schedule for semester B of this school year. But for AP Computer Science Principles, try to increase that AP CSP rate from 45% to 45%. Sorry about that. With 70% of students scoring a 3 or higher on at least 2 AP style practice assessments. And Mr. Robinson, since they're looking at you for possibly teaching that course. The AP Computer Science Principles exam is a 3-part exam. The first 2 exams are focused on the fundamentals. In my opinion, task 1 is an actual exam. Task 2 is where the students have to address some type of historical issue or a current issue within technology, computer science principles. And task 3 is actually really fun. They just create a program, a video game, even a robot moving, and they just have to describe that algorithm. So the toughest part, in my opinion, is the actual test prep. So moving on. So this kind of goes back to our school improvement plan, but more specifically based on our department, CTAE department. So root causes and findings, again, inconsistent test prep alignment. Ms. Prince, she told me that there is a need for test prep, which is completely aligned, 100% aligned with a lot of the exams that go into your pathway, but it just seems like an equity thing. Certain schools get it, other schools, it comes with a big ticket. So I think that's something that we need to definitely get in front of. Well, we might have to show up to a board meeting, I don't know, but hopefully it doesn't get there. Lack of performance-based practice, which that kind of coincides with the test out. Test out is very hands-on. Attendance interruptions, like we had this morning. I'm not really sure what's going to be addressed with that, but the fire alarm issue is happening a lot. Three times in a day, multiple times a week. So hopefully administration can come up with a solution, or at least, if we know where it's coming from, hopefully a cancellation call can be sent down, like, hey, false alarm. But I don't know how that stuff works. That's above my pay grade. Most importantly, instructor support needed with content pacing. and then limited tech access after school. So that kind of fluctuates with each student. I think the most part in our classes, what I've seen, we just need a lot more resources available to us, or at least, in my opinion, it would be helpful if we had an instructional coach or district level leadership that kind of works in our area, that kind of at these PLs actually allow us to either work together to create our own instructional materials, or come through with a blank check so that all schools can have these different these computer science focus test prep materials. All right, this will go over some relatively straightforward instructional strategies. If we could, and I know it's busy. We got a lot of challenges. We only have 50 minutes of class, so I don't want to get too unrealistic. I teach 6 classes a day, so I know the challenges that comes not only with this job, but also at this school site. And the fire alarms have been a pretty ridiculous thing. I'll get started with a lesson, and then I gotta, we head outside and wait for the fire truck to come. But hopefully admin kind of helps resolve that issue. But ideally, what would help us would be weekly certification practice labs. In my opinion, the students that want to do it, they will engage with these type of practice labs, especially if we can get test out. From my experience, again, test out is a great resource. It gives you both fundamental knowledge and, of course, that simulated lab knowledge. With AP Computer Science Principles, some type of algorithm boot camps, and both of you told me that you all use CodeHS. CodeHS is a very helpful resource. The only downside is, in the free version, we can't customize the curriculum. So it will be helpful if there was some room in the budget to kind of customize that curriculum and curtail it to our different disciplines. But just from my experience, having taught AP Computer Science Principles several years ago, that was a very helpful resource. I had a lot of students pass the coding and Carol, things like that. Definitely help introduce them not only to the practical knowledge, but the fundamental knowledge required. Also, if there's a way of, we need to see, I would like to work with our department chair, if possible, if time permits, to see if there's a way that we can use progress learning and CTAE Cert Master to kind of track student data, student growth levels throughout the remainder of the semester. And this is probably the most difficult one. With one planning period and 6 classes throughout the day, or those of us that might have an extra planning period in there, it doesn't really align. But if we could meet, I guess I really see this being most effective, if time permits, if we could meet when we come back from the winter break, which I know we're all looking forward to. If we could come back and just work a little bit, just to kind of at least see what we can readily pull together in terms of like different things to keep these students engaged, or to keep them on task. I don't want to too much focus on engaged, because we can only do so much we can as teachers. At the end of the day, we have different pathways that we have to teach. We have different information we got to present to them, and they're young adults. So if they want these certification exams, they really have to engage with the work that we give them. And we got to, and we all do this, but I just want to make sure that everything we provide them actually aligns with these certification tests. That takes the weight off of us. So that way, we're not clamoring to prepare. Let's see, some more instructional strategies. Now these are some ideas that I had: equity and access supports, attendance monitoring interventions, which the attendance thing has been really, really hurting us. I've had students I had one student in particular, his first day of school seemed like it was in September, then I never saw him again. So we all have, everybody in this building has very, I guess, frustrating attendance issues. So I guess the best thing, that's kind of beyond our department. All we can do is work with the students that we see every day. But if the district, if the school level administration can kind of figure out a way that we can monitor this might be helpful. Whenever we're available, maybe even after school tutoring and lab access. But my main thing, My main thing with that is, just from my experience teaching these pathways, I try to keep as much of the coursework online as possible. Just because in the classroom, I mean, you have it right there. It's hard to juggle the books, test prep materials, things like that. Also, some other things that would help teacher professional development on certification alignment. Pretty much what I envision is before school starts back, whether it's at the beginning of the year or when we come back from winter break, it would be really helpful if we could just block out at least an hour and a half, maybe reach out to our upper administration, let them know, hey, is there a certain time of the day on the, I guess, when they pack our schedule with all these different PLs, it would be great if we could just have an hour and a half to just kind of work with each other, at least map out some resources we can use for the year, collaborate, get some things together in Canvas, just to pretty much a period, time and place during the semester where we can literally work together, get a game plan in place, and just try to have a chance at increasing student achievement with our students. So I don't know if that's, I kind of envision that as having like a comprehensive Canvas unit that has the Code HS, whether it be Code HS, the test out material already in place, so that way students submit checkpoints. That'll be a great way to kind of monitor where students are. And then last but not least, some other instructional strategies that I see very useful in the past. Having a peer coding and tutoring program, or if there's not a way that, because our schedules are busy, if there's not a way we can stay after school, peer programming is a very good strategy to use in class, where you pair students up at differing levels. They work together, or whether it be Microsoft Arcade MakeCode, Microbits, they pretty much work together, learn from each other. That's a great resource to implement, so students kind of learn from each other. So it's not just the teacher just up here doing everything. And that's one thing that I like to brag on, what I do in my class with my students. I have them do all this work, whether it be hands-on projects, Ferris wheels, roller coasters. They do all this work, and then in reality, they're building up content for a presentation, because I want to sit back and hear them talk about what they learned. So it's the same thing with peer programming. They really do learn from each other a lot in that fashion. Let me see where we're at. We're wrapping up here. So I kind of went over this CTAE teacher collaboration meetings. That'll be very helpful when we sit down and kind of collaborate. Some of us already do that, especially the pathways that are more intertwined than others, but those are very helpful. If we could get together and share our review of data and goal setting with those 2 goals, or 1 goal, depending on the status of AP Computer Science principles. Again, this kind of ties into professional development, teacher-led solution, brainstorming, beginning of the semester, midway, whenever we can get a break, whenever we can get some quietness in our room, just spend about an hour together, come up with at least a couple weeks worth of comprehensive units to kind of guide these students towards success on these particular subject areas exams. And collective responsibility for outcomes, which we're all, we all kind of share that responsibility of the success of our students. So not much to say there. And as we wind down, remember that our mission here at ARC, lifelong learners, productive citizens. The vision, we're a global community of learners. And I'm going to try my best at this Latin right here, but ex praeteritus futurus, from the past to the future. That's a motto that we need to ingrain, not only at the school level, but also in our disciplines, because we're the vocational, the CTAE department is always growing. It doesn't matter how advanced AI gets or what new jobs, what new careers come along the way, that all falls into our area. So, I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk. So, just to kind of get some feedback, first thing is, what supports do you all feel you all need? Is there anything that I can do to kind of help curate some of this stuff, having taught some of these pathways? Ultimately, what supports do you all need as we head into the next semester full of exams?
I would say that last year when we did the 3D printing project, a collab with that, I'd say that was very helpful. Although I used Tinkercad software, you were able to show me different software. And you were also able to show me the different way you can, the platform to get the supports there. I forgot what it's
flash
called.
print.
Flash print. And you showed us, so with that need, you showed us how SD cards and SD cards readers were used. So this year in the budget, that's what I implemented. And I also implemented some more 3D filament, so that way we could do the process over again. I also feel like we need, like you said, the hands-on software that correlates with our pathway. We started in the intro courses, by the time they get to the advanced courses, it's routine and it's a part of their curriculum. So it's not something brand new. So I would say the online software and just different materials when we get, just knowing the different materials that are needed before we do a collab will be helpful.
Okay, appreciate it.
I guess my end of concern slash is, I know one of us is going to be teaching AP computer science. Is the turn of, if I'm not mistaken, neither one of us have ever taught AP before, so seeing the process of transition to AP, what time that's going to take, just kind of like mentally get prepared for AP, to see how that's going to work out, to see if maybe potentially a third teacher needs to get hired. We'll have to have intro hardware tech, intro to cyber, advanced cyber. AP computer science out here is coming back, with also me hearing about AP cyber is trying to become a thing. That on 2 teachers eventually is going to be, especially if they think about, splitting the course per se. Between, like I said, between the relationship, the continuation, and just the pathway itself, it's just, I guess, in the sense of seeing how to make that transition to AP, what things we need to know, what things we need to learn, what time can be sacrificed ahead of time. As somebody who never really taught pathway, whatever taught point of to the testing point, I guess to kind of get that anxiety per se, when it comes to AP. I guess it's like my AP questions in that aspect, or concerns. And then kind of got a similar one to Ms. Branch as far as, like I said, the resources, the Ohio resources, make sure that those are available, because we both teach intro to hardware tech. I teach intro to cyber, and she teaches advanced. And we both do our thing with intro to cyber, but we're also technically still building we both build intro to hardware tech from scratch. So I try some things, it works, it may not work. She tries some things, it works, it may not work. But it's not no consistency, because there's no textbook for intro to hardware tech. We don't have any PCs to break down how to build PCs. We don't have enough for that course design besides Code HS, and there's no workshops for Code HS to be like, this is how you teach from this course, especially those who are more like hands-on. So I'm rambling, but that's kind of like the things that kind of ran through my head while I was listening.
Okay. So just to kind of address that, one thing that I found helpful, I attended the AP Computer Science Principals Boot Camp at Sprayberry High School. This was like 6 years ago. And if I'm not mistaken, and I can do some hunting for this particular device, I have, or there might be a cloud-based location where they've got pretty much some startup materials to kind of help you get started in terms of teaching the fundamentals, even teaching the binary and hexadecimal math, I believe it was.
I told my friends I had ordered some B's, like little pipelines, because the way we do binary this time compared to how I normally taught binary is that a lot of people, like, especially visual learners, I saw this thing on Facebook with basically like create like binary bracelets. So you get 2 color beads, one represents 0, and then they'll be challenged to make the binary in bracelet form.
Okay, that's very interesting. But I'll definitely do some digging to find that, because it was a great depth of like files and activities to help you get started. And like you said, Code HS is it can be limited. So I will do some digging to see like what kind of resources are available online that we can link for the fundamental knowledge. But as you know, when you first got here, and I'll reiterate this, there's a lot of things that I use in engineering throughout the year in which students create computational artifacts. So that's a key word that you'll hear a lot if, you know, should one of you all start teaching AP Computer Science, you'll hear that word computational artifact. That's a fancy way of saying pretty much artifacts that students created through programming, whether it's a robot moving, a video game, even microbit functions, things with Smart House. So I do want to go do some digging for those files for AP Computer Science principles to kind of help you get started until we kind of get a consensus of what the plan is and what resources will be available, because it's the spending deadline isn't here yet for CTAE. So that's another thing that I think we should work with our department chair and see if there's any way he can push, or in collaboration with the principal, push toward getting some licenses for the students that we indefinitely know will be taking the Security Plus exam. And one thing I would like to bring up with what you said, Ms. Prince, the Tinkercad. I actually revisited Tinkercad these past 2 weeks. We're actually building a smart city. My engineering class is building a smart city with Tinkercad. That's something that I would like to share with you. Now, that doesn't necessarily tie into Security Plus, but if you're looking for a good engagement activity, that's a great way to start. And you might be able to tie in some of the Security Plus knowledge.
Yeah,
with
well, we could relate the standards to the assignment.
Yeah, it'll definitely work out in terms of a smart city. When you think of smart city, you got to think of the dangers.
Yeah.
That comes with Security Plus, so we can definitely flesh that out.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
All right, and then I guess in the future, what are some professional development topics that you think would be most helpful, especially within the business? Because we don't really have control at the district level. What are some things that we can collaborate on during pre-planning at any point that'll kind of help prepare you all?
So I was gonna say, I know it's gonna sound silly, but I feel like the conversations we had outside as well. I guess a PL that, 'cause like I said, we can't run away from AI. AI is here. AI is integrated. A way that, because my space goes really everything teacher related. So I feel like a PD that is to teach teachers how to efficiently use AI. Like the point that I said, when I made my quiz, of course, I know all the material that I'm teaching. I know how to make my questions and X, Y, and Z. But there are times you don't want to sit there on Canvas and type in questions one by one, this and the third. So the point that I figured out how to use AI to create a QTI file, so it goes to Canvas, would save me time on an already busy schedule if teachers had a PD that taught them how to use AI efficiently. I think we only had one PD over it, and it was just introducing, saying, hey, this is what we have, but not how them to officially use it, how to officially make rubrics, how to officially use it to make the quiz that goes into Canvas or Kahoot or little stuff like this, that when you're not spending extra time, you can use more time to get more stuff done. So,
Okay, I can see
I
that.
would say I agree with that. And to answer your question, the Georgia Educational Technology Conference, that was one of the main things they discussed, is how to use AI and how efficiently, and the different, it's so many AI different resources, so they were talking about that. But another conversation we had outside of this was making more events, more engaging events to build up a school culture. We were talking about maybe, like, for example, the senior week. Yes, they have a water fight and all of that, but maybe adding a water slide or a dunking booth or something fun to get the kids a little bit more excited. Even when we do our collaboration, I know we were discussing maybe doing during CTAE month in February, having an HBCU day, a college fair day, different events, and making it interactive, so it's not just somebody in front of the class or a speaker coming in just talking to them. I know with our students, they have low attention span, so yeah, they'll listen to you, but they might be going in one ear and out the other. So having them, like we have coming up soon with our cyber and our engineering department, we have Mr. Etheridge coming in from the Georgia Cyber Center to come talk to the students. And not only talk to the students, but demonstrate different critical thinking or collaborative creative activities. So it's not just them talking, but more so an interactive experience that they can leave with something, a new skill perhaps.
I like all of those ideas, especially the AI in terms of, I guess, streamlining the workflow as a teacher, and then also your ideas for just that student engagement, because in order to get to those games, yes, it's about teaching, it's about what the students are doing, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but we really do need to engage these students in our pathways and see both the real world relevance and also have fun with it, to motivate the few that we can reach to want to come to school when we're open, and most importantly, you just strive for that success. And one of the things about our field that I feel strongly about, everything that we teach, there's a dollar sign tied to it. So if you get that certification for Security Plus, especially with the visitor coming next month, I'm not going to over exaggerate and say there's a bunch of six-figure salaries, but it is a very lucrative field to get into when you have the right certifications. When certifications will get you in doors that, degrees can only do so much, so to say. So I like all of those ideas. And we kind of already talked about the barriers, everything from attendance, potential burnout on teachers, having to teach different preps that are tested, being a first-time subject area tested teacher. So those are some things, and also to test out the equity in terms of the resources. So one thing that I do want to thoroughly and seriously communicate with our department chair about is kind of our needs, especially with that deadline approaching in terms of spending those Perkins funds. And us increasing in size as a school, we're going from 3A, jumping past 4A, we're jumping straight to 5A. We have more students, so that means more students will be coming through our doors, more students will be enrolled in our program. So whether it be hiring additional staff, but with what we have now, we do need those resources to push the ones that we do have to succeed on these exams. So I do appreciate you all's work. Meeting with me, and I do appreciate you all's work. I'm not going to take any more of your time, so I'm gonna transcribe this. I'm gonna send it to the department chair, and we'll talk a little bit more. And I think it was a pretty productive meeting we had today. So I look forward to hopefully getting us tested out, and just kind of sharing my knowledge with you all to kind of meet those student achievement goals. So I appreciate it.
You.
Thank you.